When it comes to major brands using AI to deliver better experiences, are they actually cautious because like the cost of being creepy is so high that it's better to just not be on the edge?
I think it depends on the brand. And I think there's a balance too. A lot of brands are looking for the baseline because people expect some kind of personalization. If I keep coming to a sports equipment site and I'm logged in, and I always search for women's ski gear, I don't need you to surface up men's ski gear to me every time I come on your site. So there's sort of an expectation. And so we're seeing brands are like, yeah, we have to do personalization. It's baseline. Then they want tools that allow them to then control that experience too, so that if they have something really cool and trendy, they want to, put that at the top of their search experience. They want control on top of the personalization.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
Keri, welcome to the Augmented Life.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. I really want to talk to you about, meat space brains and artificial brains, the intersection, the ways in which we can augment each other, the ways in which we might, not what the ways in the ways in which we continue to be incompatible. Let's start by talking about anthropomorphizing LLMs. Broadly, what I'm interested in is the following. It seems to me like we apply metaphors to chatbots, which are, they're talking back to me. That's what humans do. I'm going to treat this like it's a human. But the reverse may also be happening. Like, is it the case that people are coming to understand these brains better, you think, by interacting with artificial ones?
I think so. I think that as we're interacting with these LLMs, we are seeing the ways in which they're also not human, and we're seeing the ways in which they're picking up on our patterns, and we're like, "Oh, you recognized this pattern, but you're not adjusting to me. You're not there's something missing here. You're not intuitive in the way that a human would be with me." I definitely think we're seeing that happening.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? Like the ways in which the LLMs get it slightly wrong actually, maybe can make you appreciate your friends better.
Yep. I think so. And the ways they sort of wildly hallucinate sometimes, and I'm like, that was just not, you just made that up. And the LLM's like, yeah, I did. And you can appreciate when your friends and humans in your life can say, I don't know the answer. And I think that that's definitely been an interesting side effect of the LLMs.
Right, right. I well I noticed that a small release um in one of ChatGPT's models in 4.0, they improved it recently in such a way that I noticed ChatGPT kind of pushing back at me more. And I thought, oh, hey, this feels a little more lifelike because you're not being so obsequious.
Yes. They're starting to build in. I was playing around with Claude the other day, and there you can tell that instead of it saying great at the beginning of every sentence, there's starting to be a little bit more of a tension and some of the humanness you might expect in a conversation with someone, rather than the great, I absolutely will at the beginning of every sentence.
Right. Yes. Yeah, there's a kind of, there's the obsequiousness, the flattery, and then also the mealy mouthedness, right? Like it's hard to get the model to commit, right?
It is. It is. Yep. the flattery cracks me up too, because I'll put something in and I'll say, "Can you make this better?" And it'll be like, "This is such a great idea." And I'm like, "No, I'm coming to you because it's actually not, and I need you to help me make it better, and I want you to give me feedback." And so the artificial flattery is sometimes too artificial where I don't believe it.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah. Okay, so we're it does seem to be getting better, right? Um the but um but where does this head? Like I guess we're opening here talking about these aspects of AI models that you might call their character or personality, right? And and one of the central things I want to talk with you about is just the future of AI personalization. Um, and there are two forms this can take. So one is AI models that know us better, that get better data somehow about us. Um, the other though is maybe different agents having different personalities, right? That are compatible with you. Like I'm not compatible with everyone. It turns out. I actually have some preferences in personality. So one way in which you could personalize an AI experience is by being, I don't know, like the the kind of conversationalist I like. What's uh, against both of those dimensions? What's been impressing you? Like, where's the good work?
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting to see. There's actually this emergence of personality teams within these companies too. Like Anthropic has a team that is focused on the personality of the model, which is super interesting. And they're always tweaking, and the side effects are really interesting too. You make one tweak to the personality, and then all of a sudden the personality changes in a way that you don't want it to change. And so there's entire teams and even functions now that are surrounding the personality of these models and how to create a personality that aligns with their company in many ways, which I think has been really interesting. And it's been interesting too because I I've seen the start of, there's sort of the model training and the personality in the model, and then there's the personality of the model that's talking to me specifically. And kind of what you were saying, the personalization, we're seeing them do that a little bit in the models where they'll learn a little bit more about me, and then it'll bring it back in, sometimes in weird ways where I'm like, that's not really like my chat GPT model loves that I love ice cream, and it brings it up all the time. And it's almost too personalized to me in those ways where it feels unnatural. So I think they're still playing around with the right level of personalization in the way that the model interacts with me and with its users.
Right, right. Is this? Are there even ways at all to be quantitative on this tuning, or is it really just let's turn the knobs and vibe check?
I think it's a combination. I think that there's very much the art and science to it, and I think models are really interesting because they are trained on a point in time. So the model, the Voro model, is a point in time model that's trained on all this data, and then it's not retraining the entire model on my interaction. It's only retraining the interaction that I'm having with the model as I'm conversing with it. And so I think that's where some of the art comes in. And I there is a lot of math to the training of the model and the building the model's personality in many ways. And I think there was a funny one where there was a model that was hyper fixated on a particular topic, and that was a fun model for, I think, I don't remember what the topic was, but it was really interested in this one particular topic. And the whole point was that you could create all these different models, train the model itself on a particular topic, and then give it to users and then allow it to adjust to that user's style, other people who are very interested in that topic.
That's pretty great, right? Because it follows one of those stereotypes of the autism spectrum of like the special interest. We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
we can give our model a special interest. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it makes it very endearing.
I think knowing um knowing the your behavioral science background is what led me to this questioning that almost was scientific in spaces, but the um there's an entirely different dimension to the design of these things, which falls more in the domain of classic software product engineering. um there's let's teach the model not to hallucinate. Feels like it's a scientific endeavor. Let's create an awesome user experience as a classic product endeavor. The and and it's weird in 2025 that the that user interfaces between us and AI models can themselves become malleable because AIs can write code, they can adapt. How how's that changing product leadership? I think a lot of attention has gone to like, oh look, we can write code faster, so that means we can ship more features. Okay, fine. But what about like altering the interaction models between human beings and AI? That your job has been shifting into your feed, am I right?
Yeah, my job has changed completely. I was a UX designer back in the day, and we were always designing these step-by-step interactions, bring the user along with you. And now it's because people are now expecting to just have conversations everywhere they go. Every technology that they interact with, they're now expecting to have a conversation behind the scenes. So we have to take that into account. How are people now asking questions to any search bar or anything that they're interacting with is now a conversation. And then they're expecting to be able to have a conversation back as they are progressing through. So it's completely changed the way that we design experiences for people and the way that we allow people to talk. And then you also have, there's sort of this unknown a little bit around when someone is interacting with and having a conversation with something. It's very easy to control their experience if they're going step by step and you say, on this step you click this button and on this step you click this button. When you're having a conversation, you have to really put the guardrails in place around the model, because you can't necessarily control where the user is going to go with it as much. So it's becoming very uncontrolled chaos that you want to, as a product person, ensure that the user has the best possible experience around that.
Right, right. So I imagine that just the rate of experimentation has to go up because some things that you think are going to be awesome aren't. I mean,
Yeah. Yes, we are experimenting so much faster than we've ever done before, because we have to see very quickly what people are doing, and people behave in ways that we didn't expect it at higher rates, or the side effect of something, or the effect of putting a model in front of someone, and then the effect that has on the user's behavior is a lot less planned or expected than we thought. And so we have to see what are these. There's so much that we don't know. So we have to learn quickly.
yeah, I recall hearing from one of the Notion product managers in charge of adding AI features that they were originally conceiving of their work as providing really AI driven retrieval against people's document repos on Notion, and saw that users were like asking for help on how to use Notion. There was a lot of like meta questions. Um, and it was like, oh, I guess we need to expand the scope of this because people are their questions are going in a completely different direction than what they intended.
Yeah, and it's really cool too, because one of the things when I first started in product, they always told us, you could go ask a user what feature they want, and they'll just, or say, "Hey, here's a feature, do you want it?" And they'll say, "Yeah, I want it." And then when you put it in front of them, they don't end up actually using that feature because it turns out they said, yeah, I want it, but then you didn't ask, would you use it in this way? And so I think what's really fun with this is you get to really lean into that design thinking, that human-centered design thinking around like, what are people doing? If someone is asking this question, if people are looking for more meta information, not only does that change how I'm designing the experience, it's also changing my whole strategy. It's changing my whole experience, and getting that kind of information from people in this way is such a gift for a product team.
Yeah, right, right. But there remains this difficulty of salience, and you put your finger on it when um you talking about Claude bringing up ice cream, right? That like it's almost it's almost like the model wants to show off the rare things that it has remembered, right? Um, and okay, so it seems to me like there are two components to this failure mode. One is the overemphasis, but the other is also like the it it's actually the choice making about what to remember, right? Like um I think honestly, I think that one of my powers as a friend is just this. Like I'm a good witness for my friends. I will remember things for them. It's like a gift of of paying attention. Um and it's a really big part of feeling seen and feeling understood. And from your UX background, you know that there's a way to learn from user behavior, but that requires this like tremendous judgment, and does seem like something that AI personalization this is like a gap that must be covered, right? That seems really hard to me.
I think so, because there's this nuance to it. And I think we see this with people too. There's people like you who just have that intuition for people and can remember the right things. And you have people who you tell them, I like owls, and then for the rest of your life you get an owl themed gift for everything. And that's kind of what I think about with this ice cream. I told AI I like ice cream, and now I'm getting ice cream gifts from AI all the time. So I think it's interesting to see how could we tap into that intuition, that makes you feel special, that makes you feel like, oh, this person remembered all these varied aspects of me, not just that I like ice cream, but that I like I like ice cream, and I also like to be in the mountains, and I have all these other, there's so much more to me than my ice cream or the owls. And I think that's where personalization, to really feel less silly, it has to have that intuition and understand the complexities of the person.
Yeah. Ooh. A lot of our product work is about tools. So the way to personalize tools is just to like sort of make them work better, make them better suited. But that, but the, we're putting our finger on this different thing, which is like helping people feel understood or like feel seen.
Right, right. That I'm more than someone who likes ice cream. I have all these other intricacies to me as a person. And then there's this other, I think about this spectrum too, because you don't want to go too far and be like, I know where you lived as your childhood, and here's your childhood home address. So we have to have ways for our AI to not become a creepy stalker. And I think that will be the challenge for product leaders as we go. How do you find that balance of making people feel seen and feel like a human, and without hyper fixating on one thing about them, and without getting too creepy where they feel like you're stalking them?
Yeah. Ooh, good point. Oh, so what, on that score, like what is working for, okay, I want to populate the training set for personalization for, in the software domain. Like what, where's where's the good stuff?
Where's the good stuff in, like, what are we seeing in the market, or what do you think? What do you mean?
Oh, right. The okay. I'm actually particularly interested in data exhaust. So if you have an application, you want to make it better. You want to personalize it. You want to learn from your users. So there's the users are generating a tremendous amount of data that just is, let's call it interaction paths. And so in expectation, you could maybe use that to learn from um, the th versus, let's say, inviting users to very consciously share data about themselves, right, for the purpose of personalization, um, which which can be better, but on the other hand, is asking the user for more work, right? It in in your exploration of like of where to go to get good data, trying to drive towards these unique, delightful experiences, what's what's worked?
Yeah, I think what works is keeping the context of where the user is in mind as well. So I think about the stalker example. If I told someone where my childhood home was and they remembered that, I would feel good about that. I would feel, oh wow, they remembered where I grew up. If I didn't tell them, then I would have questions and concerns about why they were looking up my childhood home. And I think that systems and human system interactions are very much similar. If I'm in the context, if I'm using Google Maps and Google Maps has adjusted to knowing that I go a certain way every day and that I miss a certain turn every day, and now it is giving me a flag that says, "Hey, don't forget about this turn." That to me feels like I don't need to give permission for Google Maps to know where I'm going because I've kind of done that in the act of using the tool. But if it's now starting to sell me on flowers or on something else that's not related to what I'm doing within the app, that is where I do think that asking users for permission or having that transparency actually creates more of that trusted interaction.
You're totally right. Yeah. Oh, and there's a canniness. I think there's a canniness to this that wow. Um, because the like, have you ever had a friend who um experienced ad targeting working a little too well, and then they're like, they must have been listening to me.
Yes,
And
yes, my sister and I talk about this all the time.
and I've worked quite a bit in the security of ad tech, and and looking at the bowels of ad tech, I would say no, they're not listening to you. Like that. That's almost giving ad targeting a little bit too much credit for their ability to process. But on the other hand, it's like not enough credit going to some of the other um, behavioral targeting parameters that led to that situation, right? So it's sort of an example of you did your job a little too well, and now you've created this weird experience.
Yes, yes. Now I feel creeped out because I'm not thinking about that you're actually just using probabilities to the probability of me being interested in this is high, and it also just so happens that I was talking about this. That's not how I'm thinking about it in the moment, and I haven't. And so yeah, there is definitely this line that can be crossed into creepy stalker territory that I think companies have to be really careful of ensuring the user understands, either in that case, like, here's how we got here, here's why you're seeing this, or keeping the ads a little more relevant to what a user has explicitly told you in some way.
Yeah. Oh, that man, I had not. So so you have to engineer in both directions, right? Like sometimes it's wow. Ooh. Oh, I like that. Yeah. I think so. I think that most of your work in this domain is really it's it's been a lot of just sifting through first party data to figure out what the most salient stuff is, as opposed to that like ad tech. So, like in the ad tech world, you really are trying to trade in data. Um, right. but um, you're mostly working on the let's solve the search and discovery problem.
Yeah, a lot of my most recent experience in particular has been in that search and discovery and the privacy and data security side of that. And definitely more about how do we help people find what they're looking for faster, more efficiently, more effectively, without seeming creepy.
Right. So, oh, wow. So in your experience, are major brands when it comes to major brands using AI to deliver better experiences, are they actually cautious because like the cost of being creepy is so high that it's better to just not be on the edge?
I think it depends on the brand, and I think there's a balance to a lot of brands are looking for the the baseline because people expect some kind of personalization too. So you if I come to a site and it's totally irrelevant and forever and I've said, "Hey, you can be personalized to me, you can have some more information that's relevant to me." I'm going to expect you to have you as the brand to be personalized to me. If I keep coming to a sports equipment site and I'm logged in and I always search for women's ski gear, I don't need you to surface up men's ski gear to me every time I come on your site. So there's sort of an expectation. And so we're seeing brands are like, yeah, we have to do personalization. It's baseline. But they want tools that allow them to then control that experience too, so that if they have something really cool and trendy, they want to put that at the top of their search experience. They want control on top of the personalization.
Right, right. In my own experimentation with just using it's mostly either um, OpenAI's models or Anthropic's models to do a little personal agentic intelligence. I've naturally given simple agents with either model access to my Fulcrum data store to be able to answer, to do little assistant projects, right? Like make a recommendation about where I should have. My first test was where should I have breakfast after my flight tomorrow, and when that worked, I thought, oh my god, this is magical, right? Like it looked ahead, saw the flight, saw where I where I was staying, like the hotel that I'd be staying at, and then I got three recommendations of places to stay near the hotel. I thought, oh, okay, AI agents will be the future. So, um, so now I've been thinking about this repo as like my personal lore keeper, you know, um, and and I wonder, I guess I'm hoping that in the future there will be some sort of open protocol so that I could opt in for having a personalized experience by being like, can't just look like literally all my hotel preferences, you can see in the past of all my hotel stays. So I will temporarily open this up to you so that, yeah.
Yes, yes, I think that's so right. I think we're seeing that trend too in model providers that are allowing you to switch to personalization mode and then give them access to data stores that you're comfortable with. So I definitely think that people will, as long as the value that you get is equivalent to what I'm giving up, and I think it's on the providers too to make sure it's not some sort of Faustian bargain where I'm giving up more than you're giving me. But in the case that you're describing, it's very much an equal exchange of value. You're getting so much time saving that it's worth it to you for the model or your agent to know where you are, where your hotel is, and when your flight is.
Yeah, like my location history, I think is a really good example where I think the secret to this, well, I guess we'll see. The future will tell. But I think the secret is that the user should be in control of his or her own distillation. So I have my location history going into my Fulcrum data store, which is wonderful, and from it you can tell what restaurants I like, what hotels I like, etc. But also far too much, right? So I what I'm hoping is that I can use a personal AI to be my distiller, if you will, to then so all I have to do is trust one model that can make the distilled version that goes to the hotel chain or whatever without you also being able to see, yeah, like my kid's school.
Right, right. And I think that trust matters a lot. It's very much like with people. There's some people that I trust to know where I'm going. I might share my location to them. And there's some people that I'm like, you don't need to know. This isn't important for you to know my location at all points in time. And some people that I'm like, it just wouldn't matter either way. And we're not getting an equal exchange of value from me sharing this information to you.
It's funny how there's a bunch of unwritten rules when it comes to that value exchange as well, because it like when you have to you go with what feels right. That like certain arrangements just seem like, I don't know, more fair than others. It'd be very hard to write that out as a business rules, though.
It is. Well, it's almost personalization of personalization. It's sort of this
Yes. Oh, I
meta
love that. Oh, you should
thing.
trademark that. That's great.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's everyone is different. Everyone is their comfort levels are different, and so I am willing I love targeted ads. I like them. I like seeing ads that are relevant to me. I think it makes my experience better. I have some friends who hate it. It's too creepy for them and they don't want anything that's personalized to them. So that meta personalization does matter a lot. I think it's very unique to the person and the human and what they prefer.
I'm so glad you said that. I feel like such a weirdo by having this attitude, but the ad targeting, like, first of all, whoever picked targeting as the verb, like that was a misstep, right? It sounds bad. But the way I've been thinking about this is that great, let's say, ad placement is a gatekeeperless way of routing inventors of cool things to the people who would be interested in those cool things. And like, this is a societal good. This is great. You know, there's so many cool things in my life that I basically would not have known about were it not for the extraordinary efficiencies of internet advertising. Quirky stuff, right? Like every small production run good in your life probably was only economically feasible to make because of the distribution advantage of targeted ads. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Totally. And I remember when the ads weren't targeted and sometimes they were gross and irrelevant. And I'm like, I don't want to see this. This is making my experience so much worse. I like seeing things that are interesting, that are match what I like, and I like discovering more things. So I am totally okay with ad targeting.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So let me try this out. So having engaged with a bunch of brands, specifically working on, almost like frontier issues of how do we deliver custom experiences to people, that are, hyper individualized. It's it like, we all know that in the background of any nice sounding initiative like that is like a tremendous amount of data cleaning and normalization. And I wonder if maybe the imperative to get good at ad targeting preceded us, if you will, in giving a bunch of big brands the discipline to try to actually like have good data. Are you is that the case? So are big brands surprisingly AI ready because they have like customer data platforms and things like that?
You would think so. There is still a lot more manual data cleaning than I thought going on, where someone literally goes in and then adds tags to things and cleans their data. So I think that I think that brands have had to go through those efforts for longer than we have known. Like, they have been doing a lot of those efforts and bringing in AI to tag their and classify their data. Those are a lot of initiatives that we worked on 5-10 years ago. And you're still the thing that matters a lot too is that freshness. Like, the content, the data that's coming in has to have a clean structure, and still every brand has a different data structure. Even the naming convention is different in this brand to this brand. So I actually think there's a little ways to go when it comes to cleaning data. I think the benefit we got from the ad targeting was everyone knows it's really important to have good, clean data, and they've started to think about how they go about that activity.
Right. Oh man. I do think that in the popular imagination, AI is driven by GPUs, but actually it's driven by a humongous number of human beings who are like doing the normalization and labeling, so much labeling.
So much labeling. It's still, and then they're labeling the labels, and there's all the labeling.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then, yeah, the dictionaries of the labels and the dictionaries that translate between companies who decided to use different schemas.
Yep, and there's almost people creating manual neural networks with these labels, and so I think and then you see them turning into AI, and then AI is now labeling with the manual labels. It's all full circle.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Like, oh, I'm glad. Are you running into that and it's working in practice? I've been waiting for this sort of, yeah, the AIs are helping us do the preparation for the AIs.
I think so. I think we're seeing more of this, especially as it comes to labeling. I think because, as you said, we had a head start on that. So people have started to label, and then you can take the label, turn them into these relational databases that you can then feed into the model. So we were doing that 3, 5 years ago in some of my past roles. So we were starting to do that. And then we would take that, train a model on those relationships, and then use that model to then label content for us. And then we would continue, and then we kind of continue the loop. But I haven't seen us be able to move entirely from that human labeling all the way yet. There's still some oversight that most brands want to have on how that works.
And then do you have to do, so there's this manual tuning that I've lived through. We ran an experiment where we helped people make some digital twins of themselves that were conversant, right? So you could just talk with someone's AI driven clone, but in both cases, here we had behavioral data, but then these were both writers, so just tremendous amount of uh, text heavy corpora to train on. But still, doing this twice and getting to a place where our digital twins would not be obsequious, like they'd argue back like the human they were meant to emulate. I felt winning. Like when we got the arguing back, I thought, oh, this is good. This is a good experience. But retrieval worked differently for each of the participants. Like the actual like the overall RAG architecture was about the same, but the the exact way to do retrieval to put past writing or anything that was retrieved into the context window of a current session did just we did just have to play around and it was different per person. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Why do you think that is? What do you think was going on there?
I think it was different writing styles. So one person was a working journalist for decades,
Mhm.
and so had this journalistic style. And there are certain conventions about like you're gonna lead. There's gonna be a lead. You're gonna have a major fact. Both of these things are gonna be in the first paragraph, right? And if you're writing more like as a memoirist, then you maybe the first page of some story is going. It's in both cases there's probably going to be a hook, right? But one is going to be way more crafted to for curiosity, and the other one is going to be crafted for scannability. So I think when you multiply that times, let's say 20 years worth of writing, then it's going to mean that the salience of any particular piece might appear in a different place. So by different retrieval, like I mean something as different as different chunk sizes. So in the journalistic writing, you could have tight chunks. You really could just retrieve the facts. Whereas our other test subject, we had two different chunking sizes. So we do a micro retrieval and then get like the entire chapter or something, like a mega retrieval of where that appeared, and that led to a vastly better result. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
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 So that if you think about that retrieval as being much closer to the UI, the vectorization was very similar in both cases, but then right at the end, right near the UX, that needed to just be hand tuned.
Yeah, and it sounds like you had to tune a lot. Like the closer you got, the more you had to tune in, kind of micro tune too, because you have the different methods.
That's right, because we were going for this high level of verisimilitude, right? Like especially, I wanted these bots to throw down, to debate, right?
That's amazing. Yeah. And they did. They ended up debating.
That was so satisfying. It was so satisfying. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like people, they have this false harmony together. Then once they get to know each other, they start to, and that's when you have a good team, is when people are pushing each other to think outside the box. It's so similar. That's so interesting.
So I'm just interested in comparing notes because we just do a lot of experimentation at Fulcris. So I'm building a lot of one-offs. And you always wonder, like, is everyone going through this, right? Is this normal, or are we just in our own little blind alley?
No, it's normal. We definitely, the type of chunking mechanism, the model that you use, we're experimenting with different models, different tuned models. We're experimenting, and then to see what kind of results you get back, which ones hallucinate more. We had one case where we had some prompt engineering, and then all of a sudden that particular version started wildly hallucinating and not using the documents at all. And it turned out that was also a chunking issue. So we experiment a lot with different chunking methodologies, different tuning, and we have seen different results every time, which is always fun.
How does that change the job of product leadership, right? Because that's obviously less controllable. It sounds like you run into more surprises. And, I think usually what people ask of product leaders is that, you hit the date, right? Like, but if the randomness is higher, then the just more things are indeterminate, right? So how does that change your approach to your job?
Yeah, the after release matters so much more for us. You hit the date, you have the product ready, and then we do ride-alongs now with our field teams, where our product teams will go and watch, and we will sit with them as they're tuning the different models and as they're getting the AI solutions ready to go. So we are way more involved in post-release than I think we've ever been before, because we want to see and we want to experiment and tune, because it's not done when you hit the date, as you said.
Oh yeah, right. Because you can't exhaustively test, right? You can't just hand it to QA and be like, click every button, right?
Yeah. Ask every question that a human might possibly ask this tool, and QA is
beyond
like,
scope.
we
Yeah.
don't have that. Yep. So, and we enlist. So it turns out that we just enlist more help from people. We get more people to kind of play with things within the company and see. And it's definitely, I think it's fun because you get to see the things you didn't expect too. So that that variability keeps us on our toes.
Yeah, nice. And so how has this changed client expectations? Because I guess that's a different delivery experience for them too.
Yeah. Well, I think their expectation remains pretty high for what we like. They still expect a predictable product at the end of this. The way that we like to approach it is we get to work with them. We get to work closer with them. We get to build those product and client relationships. We're a lot more client facing as a product team than ever before. Before you could kind of hide behind your field teams and say, you guys go tell the client this and that we will do this on this day. And now it's, oh, wait, actually, we need to understand that nuance of that thing that that one person asked in that one way, and we need to bring it back. So it's good that we get to shadow with clients. I think the client expectation has remained that the product has to meet these certain standards, and our ability to deliver on that has changed a lot, and our the involvement changes a lot.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. What 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 are the next chasms to cross? Like what are you looking forward to tackling um as as this AI revolution plays out? Like what's exciting you?
I am really excited about this new concept of AI experience design. So, in the early UX design, it's human centered, it's human computer interactions. Now, I think there's so much around the experience of AI woven into the user experience, and the finding the right balance, as we talked about, of personalization, of creepy personalization, and the more nuanced and complex personalization. All of that to me fits within this concept of AI experience design. And how do we design a really unique and personalized experience for every user with the right guardrails around, and that we protect our users in many ways too against the negative impacts of these. So I think ethical AI experience design is a really interesting topic that will continue to grow. And
Agree. Are you seeing any good generative UI that beyond text based, like the interface is changing in response to what a user wants? Is it happening, or is it just a novelty right now?
I think it's still a novelty, but I think it'll happen fast. I think we're seeing some like the tools where you can build slides and those sorts of things have been around for a year or so. Those are, I think, a starting point, but I think that I think it'll be more and more woven into the experience, or you won't even notice that you may have 20 agents that are doing different things for you in your experience, and you may never notice. I think the simplicity has to stay, and we'll see it coming soon, but I haven't seen anything just yet that has accomplished that effectively, where you're not like, oh, that's a AI over there.
Yeah, right. Same, same. So I'm categorically excited about this. Like in
Yeah.
expectation, it's going to be awesome, but
Mhm.
I've not yet seen somebody like nail it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's still too much to learn. We're all trying to figure out how to get our bots to not hallucinate and get them to say the right information. That we're still figuring that part out. And I think that that is a prerequisite, the anti-patterns that we want to prevent our bots from doing, or our AI agents and AI tools from doing. That is actually taking for me, it's taking more time than I anticipated to try to put those guardrails around it.
This is my number one disappointment as well. I'm so uh, on the one hand, these models are so capable. On the other hand, I can't believe how hard it is to squeeze out high reliability. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, crazily hard.
it's
Um,
it's so hard.
you want to make a prediction about the rate at which this problem goes away?
Um, yes, I think this problem will go away faster than we've ever seen any problem go away. I think this will, as we're seeing I think in the next year max, people will have found the solutions for this, and we'll have brand new problems that we didn't even imagine. I think 6 months we'll see huge progress, 80%.
As I've been asking people about specifically this, like I just want model reliability to be high enough that people with a vision of a task specific chat bot uh, get what they want. And There's a lot of convergence about this problem probably being solved this calendar year. Like most other people are estimating, yeah, this is like a 6 to 9 month thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Well, I'm glad I'm in line with the rest of the predictions.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I think this sets us up for a heck of a 2026.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Every year we're like, next year is going to be, this year is going to be crazy. And then the next year is even crazier. And I think it's really fun to be
Yeah.
a part of.
Yeah. I feel lucky to be alive and working in
Yeah.
technology at this time.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is a good time. I remember 12 years ago, we would talk about, oh, I wonder if chatbots will ever feel less robotic and feel like
Right.
humans. And then
Right.
when that happened, I thought, finally, this is what we've been talking about. It's such a fun time.
Yeah, yeah. I am getting way earlier than I was expecting. I've always wanted this distilled Wikipedia experience where um I can just ask facts about reality that no one would write a Wikipedia article about. But theoretically the knowledge is there. It's just that I would need to read too many things, right? And Claude nails that, right? Like random facts or me just wondering about the relationship between, I don't know, long dead royal families of Europe. No problem. Like absolutely definitive.
That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
you could go down all the Google rabbit holes. Now you can
exactly.
have a conversation about it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's very fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and I was feeling so pessimistic about the rate of progress against problems like that because it seems like it's such a difficult, you know, data structure and database design problem, right? But yeah, Transformers really nailed it. So we should be getting surprised more and more, right? Right.
I think so. I think we'll be surprised at our own rate of surprise.
Right. Oh, that's another good one. All right. Oh, we've had some great meta expressions
Perfect.
in this interview. Yeah. All right. On that note, let's wrap. How do listeners find you if they've fallen in love with you on this interview?
Yes, I am on LinkedIn at Keri Rich. I work at Lucidworks as the VP of product for all of our product offerings. So I'm always happy to connect with other AI enthusiasts.
Awesome. All right. You've been doing awesome work at Lucidworks. It's been fantastic speaking with you. I've learned so much. This was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. This was so much fun. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.